All right, well, we're back for another show. It's going to be fun. I see this guy everywhere I turn. I cannot get away from him, but it's kind of cool. I've got Max Claircius with me. How's it going, Max?
Andrew, it's another amazing day. Thank you so much for your invite. I really appreciate you inviting me here today.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's kind of cool, just like the story of how we've met and everything else. And I'm going to kind of share a little bit with it and then, hear about your background. But I thought it was cool. I launched another podcast called The Andrew Haines Show.
That's
it's really
right.
focused on, sports business. And I found your email address, somewhere, and I added you to my email list.
Yeah.
And I think it was because you're a real estate person, within the area. And you probably started getting my emails about the show.
Every one of them.
And and then I noticed, okay, hey, Max connected with me on Facebook. Max, I think you shot me a message on Facebook.
Yeah, on Messenger, absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's how it started. It was kind of like you messaged me. I think we probably talked within the next day or two.
That's right.
And
that's right.
I thought it was kind of cool, man. I feel like we've been friends for years.
It feels the same.
I love what you're doing. And I think there's a lot of ways we can help each other out. So kind of walk us through like your background, like your career. Where are you from? Did you go to school, all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. Andrew, again, thank you so much. Connecting with you, just like you said, has been amazing because it's put me on a different trajectory. I started my podcast because I reached out to you. So connections is extremely important. But I was born in Haiti, right? My family relocated to New York City. So I grew up in Queens, the fast-paced New York lifestyle. So I'm always on the go. So I went to high school there in New York. Back then, Andrew, if you know anything about New York is one of those cities where you got to be tough. You got to be gritty. So as a young kid, I got myself into a lot of trouble fighting after school and things of that nature. In 2005, my parents got divorced, which forced us to relocate down to Florida. So I actually finished school here in Florida. And after I finished high school, I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do with myself, right? I was just, 18-year-old floundering around. In my early days, everyone kept saying to me, Max, you have a knack for people. You have a gift for connecting with people. They thought that I was going to be a pastor. So I actually went to seminary school. Can you imagine that?
Okay.
After I went to seminary school, I got kicked out of there for asking too many questions. You know what I mean? They want you to be cookie cutter, stay in the box. Immediately after that, I attended Liberty University out in Lynchburg, Virginia, graduated there. And then I went to law school. I got my master's in American legal studies because I thought, I love talking. Maybe I can pursue a career in law, but that still wasn't it. So for a long time, I just kind of floundered around. But in the early 2000s, I started selling timeshare with Westgate. I don't know if you're familiar with Westgate.
Huge, right around where I live.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Orlando is the hub of Westgate. And so through Westgate, I learned a lot of sales skills. I learned a lot of different techniques to, connect with people, persuade people and things of that nature. So when I didn't know what I was going to do, I already had a master's degree. But, nowadays you can have a doctorate degree and still find no work. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I resorted back into sales, what I knew, real estate sales. And since then, that's all I've been doing. I couldn't have asked for a better career. Every day, I love waking up. I love what I'm doing. Yeah.
So what made you kind of, want to switch from, the timeshare to more traditional real estate?
Absolutely. I think in the timeshare business, timeshare has for lack of a better word, that shisty vibe around it, right? Because
let's get this sale. Let's get this sale.
Done. Pressure.
Get the free meal. Get the free tickets to Disney. And
$100, and we'll take $45,000 from you for $100 trade. And I just didn't want to be associated with that. There was a lot of money to be made, but I just didn't see it long term for myself.
Okay.
But in residential real estate, you really get to connect with the people. You really get to build a relationship with them. You really get to know their lives, their kids, their dog. You know what I mean? So it's something that you can actually create some longevity in. And that's what got me on that side.
Like, how was that transition? Because that's totally probably polar opposites as far as, you know, I know they both need a real estate license, I believe, but
Yes,
they're totally different processes, totally different, you know, everything.
absolutely. And the transition for me was, it was almost like a transition where I had no choice. I had no job, right? I was making no money. So I had to make something work. Right. So I remember when I first got into residential sales for almost 6-7 months, I didn't have a single sale. You know, I mean, how do you feed yourself no money and you have a job that's paying you no money?
So,
Go ahead.
no, so 6 or 7 months. So how does that, like, gosh, you got to start questioning yourself at that point. I mean, you got to be like, you know, I mean, how are you able to keep yourself up?
And that's a terrific question, Andrew. You said it. 6 months, you start feeling it. I mean, when I mean feeling it, you start feeling it. But the thing about it is, I've read that real estate is one of those careers where you can make a fortune should you desire to do so. So I think just that knowledge, keeping that in the back of my mind, that's what kept me pushing.
You know, it was right there. You were like right there anytime.
It's possible. And I saw some amazing people doing it, right? I saw some people in the market center that I was in. They were making it. They were doing extremely well, making 6 figures. So I had a glimpse of what's possible. And that's what kept me pushing.
When you kind of got into the residential side, were you like married, have kids at that point, or were you single? Like, what was the family life?
I had 2 kids at the time.
Okay.
I had 2 kids, and right now I have 6. But at the time, I had
I don't know, man. That's tough.
I had 2 kids, and again, you know, those kids really don't care about what your job is. They need to eat. They need clothes. They need toys, right? So I guess that was the other layer underneath the being able to see other people succeed. That also pushed me a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, you know, with kids too, and, you know, the kids don't know what's going on. They don't know, like, you know, you're struggling and you have to, you know, you've got to be that strong figure, you know, and positive. But I mean, that shows a lot. I mean, just, you know, that 6 months and you didn't give up, because I'm sure there's the majority of, you know, people in real estate, that's what they do. They kind of jump into it, and, you know, there's a million realtors in Florida.
Right.
I mean, everywhere you turn, there's a realtor. I'm crazy enough to think that I could still do a damn good job with it. I know you're doing a good job with it. So it can be done. I think it comes down to, you know, self-branding, marketing.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really what has drawn me to you, is like, you know, like you get that, and you want to figure out the best ways to, you know, make yourself a name. And, you know, I think when we first started talking, you were talking about doing a radio show.
Right. That's right.
And then
I wanted to get on the radio because I'm always finding ways to expose myself. I'm always finding new ways to just put my brand out there. That's why I reached out to you, because I was getting all of your shows and I'm like, man, this is interesting. Maybe he knows someone that can put me in contact with someone. Right. And I've never been afraid to reach out for the things that I wanted. I saw what you were doing. It was amazing. And I said, let me reach out, because the radio, in my mind, when I got on the radio, I'd be able to speak to the masses, right? As opposed to social media, which, you know, I spend a lot of time on, but I'd be able to touch a different group of people that's not on social media, that's not on LinkedIn, but I can, you know, spread my message on a mass level.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, in real estate, especially this day and age, and, you know, in Florida specifically, I mean, people are going to go with who they feel is going to get their house sold for the best deal, the fastest, who's going to help them find a house. And, you know, a lot of that, the way I look at that is, if I look at what you do on social media, to me, that says, okay, this guy knows, he gets it. He knows how to market. I need someone to market my house for sale. I don't need somebody just to list it.
Right.
I mean, I can get anybody to list it.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I think it's great. So shortly after we started talking, I mean, you probably had your first podcast out, what, maybe a month or so?
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, and I think it's important to be driven. I don't want to have an idea and sit on it, right? Because the minute I sit on it, a month down the line, 2 months down the line, I'm going to find every excuse as to why I shouldn't. So when we talked about it and you said, hey, this would be a great idea, the next day I was thinking, what do I need to do? Right. Yeah. And so what do I need to do? Who do I need to be in contact with? And how do I execute? So for me, it's always about execution, execution, execution.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, the thing is, you realize that you didn't have all the answers. And so what do you do when you don't?
Exactly.
A lot of people aren't going to go out there and ask, and they're too afraid or whatever. But I mean, for us to continue to, you know, develop, you know, we have to continue to seek out people who have knowledge in areas that we don't. And that's why I've been picking your brain the last few months on real estate.
Absolutely.
You know, Jake, who helped me launch my podcast on like the producing side, you know, I connected him with you and
absolutely.
And so it's kind of cool just to kind of see how all that works. And, you know, you've been there when I've wanted stuff without expecting anything in return.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important, is to be genuine too, when you want to help somebody.
And it's all about, like you said, it's all about relationship for me, Andrew. I'm very different from most real estate agents because I don't want to collect a dollar, right? Because you collect a dollar, it doesn't pay you again. But when I have a relationship with you, when I know your kids' names, when I know your birthday, when I know when your wedding anniversary was, and I give you a call, hey, Andrew, I was thinking about you on your wedding anniversary, you actually build a genuine relationship with people. And that's the same way I feel about you, building a genuine relationship. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here on your show today. I wouldn't have the podcast and some of the other things that I'm doing. It's all about relationships. So cultivating relationship is key.
Yeah. And I think that translates to just about everything. You know, to be successful, you've got to have those great relationships. For me, in sports, selling, partnerships and advertising, you know, building those relationships are crucial for long-term success. I mean, like you said, you can sell this house and get a check, but when you build a relationship, you basically have someone for life.
For life. So that's why if you see me with all of my customers, the minute they get in business with me, I tell them you can never get rid of me now, because I have a 5-year marketing plan for them, 10-year marketing plan. So 30 years from now, they're still going to be getting my marketing plan.
That's good. That's what it takes, man. So how long? Okay. So the first 6 months were rough. How long total have you been on the residential side now?
Yeah, I'm going on my 5th year now. Okay. So I would say, not counting the first 6 months, because I didn't sell anything, let's just say 3.5 years that I've actually been selling and selling successfully. Myself and my team we're quickly becoming one of the #1 real estate teams here in Polk County in my area. Yep. So 3.5 years, and that's really hyper focused on systems, right? Systems to communicate, systems to follow up. That's 3.5 years to build a platform, to build the admin support staff, because one man can't do it on your own. You'll go crazy. So I had to learn quickly things that I never knew. I had to learn quickly how to put things and people and systems in place to make sure that I can replicate that over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, that's crucial to scale. You know, I mean, if you want to definitely take it to another level, what do you think is kind of different that you do with your team, maybe over, you know, other can't even talk, agencies or brokers?
Yeah, I think, to answer your question, Wallace Waddles in his books, The Science of Getting Rich, says it's not what you do, but how you do it. Right. So like you said earlier, there's 1,000 agents everywhere. And guess what? They're all trying to do the same exact thing. So what is your secret sauce? What is that element that's going to make you stand out different from them? So one of the things that I try to do is I try to extremely humanize every interaction, right? Not just business and marketing, but I bring a family aspect to my business, where when people see me, everyone can understand family. Everyone has a family, whether it's a good or a bad family, they understand family. So I bring that aspect of family. I bring that aspect of care. And Andrew, you'll notice that when a person realizes that you genuinely care for them outside of real estate, you'll notice that not only do you get their business, you get their friend's business, their cousin's business, their mom's business.
Absolutely.
At this point, you can't even stop the business anymore. It's like a snowball running down the hill.
Right. No, that's awesome. And that's where you need to build a team, because you can only do so much.
That's right. That's right.
So what are kind of your, goals over the next 3 to 5 years?
That's a terrific question. I wish you can be in my office. You'd be able to see them all on the wall. But in the next 5 years, 3 to 5 years, Andrew, what I'm looking to do is, again, to create better systems, right? Systems where from day one, when I bring an agent to my team, I can give them a playbook. Okay, they tell me what their goals are. We're looking to net or make $300,000 this year. Okay, great. That's this playbook. And if you follow this playbook, this is how you're going to get that result. So I'm trying to build myself to a point where in the next 3 to 5 years, obviously at that point, I want to have more agents on my team. I'm not looking to have the biggest team in the world, but I always say to myself, I want to have a Navy SEAL sniper kind of team where 10, 15 agents. But watch out, if those agents come, forget about it. So building that platform in the next 3 to 5 years is definitely going to be interesting, but I'm looking forward to it.
What do you have, like a niche that you focus on, or are you just pretty much everything residential?
Yeah, everything residential. I am trying to get the niche that I am focusing on, obviously, is the luxury market. When I say the luxury market, anything above $500,000 and up, right? Because the same effort it takes you to sell a $250,000 house is the same effort it's going to take to sell $1 million house, and the returns are much greater. So that's really where my focus is. I'm building that platform. I'm building that advertising campaign to pull that type of customer to ourselves.
What is kind of like what drives you? I mean, because every time I talk to you, man, I can feel like the passion that you have and the drive, and it's contagious. Like we had that call the other day for like 30 minutes or an hour or something.
And I love talking to you because
I was jacked up afterwards. I was like, damn.
And I love talking to you the same way because there's, iron sharpeneth iron. And with you, I learned something. You have the same mindset that I have. And when you say what motivates me, Andrew, like, I didn't come from money. Right. I didn't come from a family that splurged on money, traveled the world, et cetera, et cetera. So when I wake up in the morning and I think about the possibilities, right? If my daughter comes to me and say, hey, Dad, you know what? Like, for example, I'll give you a quick example. My daughter came to me a few weeks ago. She said, Dad, I've never been on a helicopter. I want to go.
I saw you on that helicopter. I was like, what's wrong with you, man? You crazy.
So the next thing I did, I let a few days go by and I rent one out for the day for her. Right. So those type of things, really building memories for my kids, building memories for myself, being able to travel the world and not worrying about where my next check is coming from. Those motivate me. And most importantly, Andrew, my passion, really, my deepest passion is to help people. And the more people I help, obviously, it's the law of reciprocity. It comes back. You give, it returns. So waking up every morning to, help people and ultimately help myself and my family, there's no better motivation.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's similar for me too. I mean, I really did not have like a nice dinner for me as a kid was Red Lobster.
Yeah,
And,
I remember that.
And
that was the top of the line.
That was like once a year type stuff.
Yeah.
And it's good and bad, but I try to spoil, my kids and family and experience things that we didn't, get the opportunity to. So it definitely is a good driver. So no, I mean, I think that's great. Tell me a little bit about the podcast that you started though. What's that focused on? How's that going?
Absolutely. That podcast, Andrew, thanks to you, is now my baby. I wake up thinking about the podcast. Not only that, but just to go back, the podcast is called Evolve into Power, and it's focused on bringing all of the movers and shakers in our area, in the Central Florida area, business people that are succeeding, that are just crushing it. And we bring them on the show so they can be a sort of inspiration for someone else out there that's looking for inspiration. They're stuck on their 9-to-5 job. They think that's all there is. And we bring on Andrew Haines, and we bring on Todd Langner, who's a CEO of a $300 million company. And he says, hey, I started from the bottom and now I'm here, right? Yeah, so we bring on people like that to shape and to give that sort of inspiration, man. It's going amazing. And here's the thing about that, the podcast, not only the feedback we're getting from it is amazing, but I'm learning as well, because I'm connecting with other CEOs that ideas that I didn't think about.
That's the ways that they're hard.
Exactly right. So it's not only helping my business grow, but it's also helping me grow as a person just by way of having a dialogue with some of these other CEOs.
It's one of the best things I like about doing the podcast is it was not even intended for that purpose.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how beneficial it's been.
Yeah, absolutely.
From that standpoint. So how, were you nervous when you first started doing it? Because I could tell you my first one was like, man, I feel bad because it was somebody I really respected. And it was like, I was so nervous.
Yeah.
It's getting a little better.
And the thing about it, if I'm not mistaken, I think you were our first guest on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're definitely nervous because you're out of your realm, right? Yeah. It's not something I do.
It's pushing you.
It's pushing you. And it was definitely nerve-wracking, making sure, you ask the right questions. You don't want to be awkward. But quickly, one thing's that, like, for example, talking to you has always been easy. So the minute the dialogue started and you kind of get a feel for the person, it started becoming a little bit more natural. And, now after we've had, I think we're on our 12th episode.
Nice.
And we're starting to get a feel for it. The questions, the dialogue, it's getting much better. But as I said, Andrew, I'm not enjoying anything more than I'm enjoying that podcast.
So what's that? Does that come out once a week?
Yeah, it comes out every Tuesday. It comes out on, obviously, Spotify. We put it on our YouTube channel. We give a quick glimpse of it on Facebook and LinkedIn, but once a week, every Tuesday.
Okay. And then what's the other stuff that you're doing? I noticed like videos start to pop up. There was one I was just watching with the kids. The whole family was in it. The girls were having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So every Thursday, so I have the podcast on Tuesday. And again, like you said, staying relevant in people's minds, taking that mind share. So let's just say someone is midnight, they're browsing their Facebook, then there's my face. Hey, you know what I mean?
It's like
I'm everywhere. And every Thursday, what I do is I give a real estate tip, whether it's a buyer tip, whether it's a seller's tip. And also, I just started a new vlog, if you will, where also that's going to be twice a week, Wednesday and Fridays. I just give a small glimpse, whether that word of the day is perseverance. I just go and tell my story about how I persevered, real short, 2-3 minutes, just to share, how perseverance is had an effect in my life and so on. So I'm just trying to stay relevant, trying to stay in front of people and, keep pushing.
What I like is kind of cool too is, I mean, you and I are very, very similar in a lot of capacities, and we both have great spouses that are very, very supportive. Like,
absolutely, you can say that again.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and it's funny. I think, they have a lot of similarities too, just from getting to know a little bit. But I know for me, having that support, Leah has always been kind of, behind the scenes, and she's not out there like crazy,
right.
But having that support there, and like knowing that, she believes in me. No matter, like, if you had that rut of 6 months, having somebody in your corner, is crucial.
Absolutely. And that's exactly my wife, Alicia. Dale Carnegie talks about when two minds come together, a third mind is created. That's my wife, man. Andrew, if someone gave me $1 trillion right now to trade my wife, I would say have a nice day, because I can make 3 trillion with my wife. She's the type of person that she's relentless. I'll give you a quick example. The day she gave birth, the next day we were shooting a podcast.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? She's with one hand feeding the baby, and on the other hand, she's focused on the podcast. And she's the type of person that believes in me. She has ideas. She's behind the scenes. She's very tech savvy. Mm-hmm. So you may not see her on the camera, but believe me, everything you're seeing is her doing.
That's the thing. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, look, it's not just us. I mean, we just, And
Andrew, if I may add, that also gives you some level of confidence, right? When I say confidence, I can come home and I didn't have the best day. And I'm not really a negative person, but everybody gets frustrated. Yeah. But my wife will be there saying, honey, come on, stop it. And she calls me a lion. She says, you're a lion. Stop acting like a sheep. And instantaneously, it puts me back into the mindset, like, let's go. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's key to have someone back there that supports you. Absolutely.
That is. And I like the recent videos you started too, because they include the family.
Yeah.
And, some people are like, I want to keep my family totally separate, but like everything I do, it's all about the family.
Sure.
And so, like, no matter what business I have, I've had sports teams. Well, when you see me at an event, when you see me at a game, my family's always there. They're they're going to be helping. They're going to be, enjoying. So I think, just kind of including your family is good. And I think from an outsider perspective, to me, that's somebody I want to do business with. Like, he values his family.
Absolutely.
You could still be hungry. You could still go out and kill it. Right. But at the end of the day, that's your crew right there.
That's exactly right. And another thing that I see is that my kids' minds are being sharpened. Like, they have business ideas. They come to me. I'm in the office on business. They say, Daddy, look what we created. So from them watching you and listening to you negotiate deals or whatever it may be, they're quickly learning. You may not know it, but they're picking that thing up like crazy behind the scenes.
I noticed it when my son starts negotiating with me for everything. It's like, come on. I'm like, man, dude, you should be an attorney, man.
Right.
No, but absolutely. I think that exposure, though, as a kid, and kind of when I was a kid, my dad had like a side business. He worked in a factory for like over 30 years, real blue collar. And he had this little business where he manufactured and sold blinds, like window treatment. Yeah. And so as a kid, I would go there with him, for part of the morning or day or whatever. And, I think probably seeing some of that drive, I know for me, has really kind of helped,
absolutely,
me understand hard work and, like, You know,
Absolutely.
my dad never complained, and man, he did backbreaking work
That's awesome.
for me to get what I needed. And you know, it's tough. So I want to make sure that my kids see, like, look, there's number one is there's no free meal.
That's exactly right.
And number two is if you want something, you got to go get it.
Go get it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I didn't have that in my father. I didn't have that relationship with him. I still don't. And I'm this month, I'll be 33 on the 31st of October.
Nice.
And I still don't have that relationship with him. My father wasn't the kind of man that I wanted to emulate. The way he did things, that's not somebody I want to be like. So when you ask me what's some of your motivations, Max, part of my motivation is doing things completely different from what he did. You know, loving my kids, being there for them, supporting them in anything, even if the thing doesn't work. But I want to be there to say, yes, let's give it a go. Let's give it a try. What does it hurt? And so that's really part of motivating me. And, you know, being able to have that work ethic. So I had to go inside of myself and pull it out. Every day, I still got to go inside of myself and say, Max, today is another day. We're hungry. There's business. Andrew, not only that, there's business everywhere, right? Most people are saying there's no business. But when I walk around, sometimes I go walking in my neighborhood. I'm like, there's business there. It's like there's business everywhere. To me, my mind works different than most other real estate agents.
You know, but it's easy too for people to just, you know, take the easy way out.
That's right.
Oh, you know, there's too many realtors, so I can't get a listing. Or, I mean, I don't know. I just am in the mindset of, like, if I want to be successful in the most competitive field that I can be, because I'm going to out hustle, I'm going to, you know,
that's right.
I'm going to gain more knowledge. I'm going to do whatever it takes to do it. And I've been wanting to get in real estate for years.
Well, come on over. Come join us.
I know. I'm thinking about it because, you know, it's something that I have a passion for as well.
Sure.
I don't know the business of it, but I do know relationships, and I do know how to build. But I mean, we're excited. We just bought the insurance.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So hopefully we'll be working with you guys anyway on that. But, you know, as we build that, I mean, we're just trying to, you know, kind of rebound from sports, man. We took a bath a few years ago. So,
yeah.
But I mean, that's all part of, you know, being an entrepreneur and on yourself. Absolutely. There's going to be, you know, peaks and valleys, and it would have been real easy just to pack it in and say,
of course,
the hell with all this.
Of course.
But can't do that. Can't do that.
Nah, no way. I rather take the risk. I don't want to be another cog in a machine. I want to be able to create my destiny, whatever that is. If I don't succeed, I can look at myself in the mirror and say, Max, you failed. And when I do succeed, because I will, because there's no other option, I can still look at myself in the mirror and say, yes, Max, I'm proud of you because you did it.
In your current real estate now, like, what areas do you service? Is it just Polk County, or do you go outside that?
Absolutely. And I think that's what separates me. When you ask me what separates you, Max, you know, I have a car, I have gas money. I go where the business is, right? Yeah. So most real estate agents, they want to stay in a small area. So you'll find me in Kissimmee. You'll find me in Tampa. You'll find me in Claremont. I'm all over the place because, again, I'm going to the business. I'm not expecting the business to come to me. And whenever I talk to agents, because they call me all the time wanting to buy me lunch, Max, what are you doing differently? I'm working.
Hustling, man.
I'm working. I'm not sitting down. And you see it oftentimes, Andrew. These agents, they have more lunches than they work. You understand? Every other second, they're at a lunch as if it's an important lunch. Nothing wrong with having lunch because you got to connect. But let me do my business first, then I'll have lunch.
Yeah. So, like, you know, as you attack your business, do you kind of like, what kind of goals do you set? You don't have to be specific, but like, do you set like okay, my goal is to get 10 listings this month, or sell 5 houses? Like, how do you kind of break it down?
Well, 2 things. I have a financial goal that I want to hit for the year, whatever that number is, that number X. So when I think about that financial goal, I know how many appointments I need to go on. I know how many listings I need to take in order to reach that goal. And then I factor in listings that won't sell, because even if I take 10 listings, I still got to factor in 2-3 of them may not sell, because let's just say they're overpriced, or let's just say there was a shift in the market. Okay. So I have to make the difference there. So I set my financial goal. Then let's just say in a 12-month period, I need to go every month on 10 listing appointments, no less than 10 listing appointments. So I break that down. Okay, then I need to go on 2 listings, 2.5 listing appointments a week, which is chump change. So I'm just giving you a small example. Yeah. So that's how I do it. Financial goal. This is how many contacts that I need to make, and these are how many listings I need to take. And I just stay focused on that. So I don't give myself excuses. With that, I know how many doors I got to knock, right? It's all mathematics. Everything is mathematics. I know how many calls I got to make on the phone. And I'm not going to let anything or anyone deter me from those goals. Like I said to you earlier, I'm happy to have lunch with anyone, but it's not until I've made my calls. I'm happy to, have a dinner, but it's not until I've door knocked. Once I've done that, I'm free to go do whatever I need to do.
And is that just like when you set that out, do you really kind of break your time down? I think one of the things for me that I struggled with early in owning my own business is my time management. I think I'm much, much better now.
Yeah.
But do you kind of have like a routine down, or do you is every day kind of different?
Absolutely. So I'll walk you through a typical of my day. From 9 o'clock, sometimes 8 a.m., because I wake up in the morning to go to the gym. From 8 to noon, that time I've time blocked it just to be on the phone, calling, cold calling. I call it my new business prospecting time. Right.
And what are you looking for there? Listings?
I'm looking for listings. I'm looking for contacts. I'm looking for, because sometimes, Andrew, a person may not be ready to list today, but I'm looking for somebody where I can add to my email list, where I can build a relationship with them. They may not be ready today, but they may be ready in 6 months, a year, when their kid graduates high school. So that from 8 to noon, this is my time for contacting in new business, period. At noon, I sit down, I have a little lunch. I go and I play with my kids for an hour, whatever I need to do. Later on in the afternoon, this is my appointment time. So listing appointments that I've set already, let's just say from yesterday, I'll set them in the afternoon time from 2 to about 7, 8, 9 o'clock. That's when I'm taking appointments. Okay. If I have buyers, that's also the time I'm taking them around to see houses. So I kind of break up my time that way. Early in the morning, I already make the difficult part of the business. It's out the way, which is making new contact. And in real estate, if you don't know where the next transaction is coming from, then you're kind of out of business.
It's like any type of sales. I mean, you have to continue to build that pipeline and keep it filled. Otherwise, I had that happen to me.
That's right.
My first business, my first 2 months, I killed it. I made a ton of money. And then I had no work.
That's right. That's right.
I think being consistent,
consistency. That's the word. Being consistent. Just like you, I'll give you a quick example. When I started succeeding, I joined a team in the early days. I remember I closed like 5 deals that month, Andrew. And I think if I remember, I made like $28,000. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And now I want to, I'm ready to go. And then guess what? After that, you realize like, whoa, I spent too much and I don't know where the next deal is coming from. And I learned that early on. So to be honest with you, I get an anxiety if I don't know where the next piece of business is coming from. That keeps me motivated. So from 8 to noon, no matter what, you won't find me on the phone. You won't be able to reach me because I'm lead generating. After that, I make myself available. But it's extremely important that you know where the next piece of business is coming from.
So like agents that you have on your team, do you kind of work with them on like a similar program, or, is it tailored? Like, how does that all work to be successful there?
Absolutely. Because as I said to you before, I don't want just anyone on my team. I don't want bodies around me, right? And I want to, as I think about my business, I want to be the Michael Jordan of real estate. So Michael Jordan, everyone around him plays better, right? And that's my same mindset. So if I bring somebody on my team, I don't want another body on my team. I want somebody that can produce.
Yeah.
So once somebody comes on my team, one of the key things that I do right away with them before I even start giving them business is script practice, knowing what to say in certain situations. Because Andrew, if I put you in front of a client and you can't close it, you just cost the team money, because that's a lead we may not get back. So working with them on script practice. So I have a script practice with them. Some of it was I get on myself and I script practice with them so I can kind of hear what they're saying. Then I have a door knocking playlist. How many doors you should touch on a specific amount of time to generate X amount of business. I have an open house playlist, etc. And I sit down with my agents specifically for the first 30 to 60 days on sharpening their tools so that when they go out, they could be successful. Because if they're successful, obviously the team is successful. So as the minute a new agent comes on my team, we have a plan for them to take them to where they're trying to go.
That's great, because like that's the thing that I've always been afraid of if I got into real estate, is like I'd kind of be like, is there really going to be support? Is there like somebody that can help me be successful? I'm confident in my ability, but it's a new industry.
Yeah.
So kind of get into it.
I don't know if you're familiar with Ryan Serhant out of $1 Million Listings, New York.
Yep.
And he tells his story where when he got into real estate, his broker said, here you go. Right. Go figure it out. Here's all the money. Go tackle it. And it was, I've had that same experience. And the thing about it, Andrew, my personality, I want to make people better. Mm-hmm. You understand what I mean? I don't have a competitive mindset. So if I help someone else, I don't say, whoa, I'm going to help them be more successful than me. I'm glad if they're more successful than me, because I help them to get there, right? Isn't that what a teacher is supposed to do anyway?
Yep.
So I don't have that. If I teach Andrew all of my secrets, if I tell this person what I'm doing, then they're going to be massively more successful than me. Then that's great. Then guess what? I have a friend that's massively successful and they're a resource to me. So I don't have a competitive mindset, but you'll see that in real estate quite a bit, where people hold secrets they don't want to share. They don't want to tell you how they're doing their business. That's not me.
And there's plenty of business out there to go around. And I mean, I think competition isn't bad. It's not bad to have competition. If you don't have competition, I don't think that's a good thing. So I think you want some competition out there, but you don't have to be hyper competitive where, like you said, you're hoarding everything. Or
that's right. That's right.
Like, be confident in your own ability. Number one.
That's right. That's right.
So no, man. Hey, listen, I think you're killing it. I love the podcast. I love the new videos. I love our chats. So let's keep, chatting.
Definitely.
Because it gets me going too. And, I'm on a mission right now. And, like the other day I put up on LinkedIn, just feeling determined, and nothing is going to get in my way.
That's right.
Whatever gets in my way is going to get destroyed.
I love that.
So I am on a mission, and I'm excited just to be, friends with you, be able to, have somebody that can push me as well. So tell us about your website. Where can people find you and get a hold of you?
Absolutely. And Andrew, before I get into that, the feeling is mutual. You know, I enjoy your friendship. I'm looking forward to a long lasting relationship. Any way that I can be helpful to you, I'm always going to be available. And that's to anyone out there. I'm always available. When it comes to our social websites, you can find us on Facebook. My personal page is just Max Claircius. My business page is the Claircius Group. That's the same with YouTube, the Claircius Group. You'll find the podcast on there. You'll find my weekly real estate videos. You can go to our website. It's under construction, but within the next week or so, it'll be live, theclairciusgroup.com. It's the same thing on LinkedIn and Instagram, the Claircius Group. Find us there. Please connect with us. We'd love to have conversations with you, and we'd love to connect with you.
And I mean, I don't want you to answer on here. You don't have to give away your total secret sauce, but at some point, I want to know how you're selling these houses in like a day or two, because man, it's like, I see this, listing sold less than 24 hours, 48 hours. That's awesome. And
yeah.
Just keep it up, man. Tell the family I said hi, and we'll have you back on in another few months. We'll talk about that next milestone that you hit, and
definitely.
Maybe I'll be part of the team at that point.
Absolutely. Andrew, you're more than welcome. We'd love to connect with you. Again, thank you for the invite today. I truly enjoyed our conversation.